What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Welcome back, folks. Elijah 5000 here. This is Edge 2 Otaku and Edge 2 Gaming. You're like, how can it be two things at once? On YouTube, this is the Edge 2 Otaku page where we cover everything that's anime and manga exclusively. And then if you're following everywhere else, Twitch, Facebook, there's another YouTube channel that's just all video games, but that's under Edge 2 Gaming. If you're following on Kick, YouTube, Facebook, we're under Edge 2 Gaming. But you can also find everything chronicled here on YouTube at Edge 2 Otaku for anime and manga specifically. You guys know this is the place where you go for One Piece to meet your One Piece fucking needs. You could come here. You can make sure to have brief spoilers, full spoilers, and I say that hesitantly because this week for some reason we did not get full spoilers. It's the second time this has happened recently, not sure why. We have TCB scans and the live read, the live chapter came out yesterday. I'm going to make sure to get you guys caught up, but before I do, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors. So let me go ahead and pull them up for you guys because you guys have actually went and checked out a lot of their stuff. So I'm glad. So that means either you guys are hungry or you guys are really playing the Nintendo Switch. And people are like, well, what does that mean, playing the Nintendo Switch? Well, we have you can see down in the corner by the logo. Hey, what's up, Solaris? How's it going? Thank you. You can see in the logo down below, there are two. Let me see which one is it going to. Yeah, there we go. One of them is Imu'S Ramen, the place. This is the world's first plant-based, high-fiber, high-protein, low-carb, low-sodium ramen. Imu'S.com, IMMI Eats.com. They have 6 different flavors. You can go down here and look at them. Black garlic, chicken. We're going to go backwards today. Roasted pork tonkatsu. You have your creamy chicken, your spicy red miso, your spicy beef, and your tom yum shrimp. Simply use promo code EDGE2G to get $5 off your online purchase, but you can also use this website to see if they are shipped locally, and you can go to your local grocer to pick them up. Our second sponsor, SwitchFree.com. Oh, these are nice, actually. These little thumb grips and shit. If you want your Nintendo Switch customized and you want to look in fucking special shit, whether it's anime, video game theme, go to SwitchFree.com. Use promo code EDGE10 to get 10% off your total purchase, and this is for every version of the Switch, 1, 2, Lite, OLED. You can go look through pouches, cases, thumb grips, whatever you want. And like I said, video game and anime theme. Where are they at? Where's my favorite ones? The Totoro ones are on here that are pretty good, but there was another set. Where's she at? Everyone's favorite cat. And it might just be for specific versions, because this is not a version of the Switch I have, but they have Luna from Sailor Moon, Totoro. They have a whole bunch of shit. So go through here, look, use promo code EDGE2 or EDGE10 to get 10% off your purchase at checkout. And that being said, let's go ahead and get back to it. These are the TCB scans, and if you know anything about anything, TCB scans mean that I don't show you the actual panels, but I do read and describe the chapter to you. Let's do this. Let me try 1, 2, 1, 2. I changed headsets because that one was popping. Okay, that sounds better. It's not popping, so let's go ahead and get to this. I'll be reading off of this screen, so you'll be looking at me this way. Let's just go ahead and that right there. Let the jawline come out so we can go ahead and get into this chapter. The chapter starts out with a color double cover, and it's the Straw Hats underwater. Nami is hugging a sea turtle that Luffy is riding on with one of the bubbles from the same ones we saw in Sabaody. It's housing him, Chopper, and Brook, and Zoro. Zoro's asleep. Luffy has got his arms in, legs sticking out. Chopper's sitting here with his face pressed against the bubble. Brook is singing. The next one, we have Frankie on the back of a crab that has a bubble on it. He's riding with Nico Robin. She's got a hat on and like covering her face. He's driving. Jinbei is swimming. Sanji is underwater swimming towards Robin as she's with this fish, and he's jealous that the fish is getting a hug. And then in the very background, we see Usopp swimming away from a shark. And those are the only people I see on this. So if we're like, where's the new Straw Hat? Is Loki back there? Is it Bonnie? Is it? This is all we see. So, okay, so we start this chapter off. It is the chapter of 1188. This title is Void, and it is just a black panel with a little bit of white, and it says memories of one faded day. Hello, hello, respond, we hear. Zzz. Hello. That's odd. Huh? Who are you? Zzz. Mu is Imu. Who art thou, Nushi? Oh, me? I am Joy Boy. And then we get our first panel. We get to see the expression. And just from the noise down to the nose down to the mouth, Joy Boy. And then we hear pant. It's Imu sitting there with the vein popping out of his head. And Imu says, and what we just got is a Den Den Mushi conversation between, and if you guys listen to anything, I always listen to a native Japanese speaker. You can find him linked on the YouTube channel, Edge2Otaku, in the description. And he broke down that the way that they are talking here, it's a young Joy Boy, and a young Imu. Because Imu's like, Mu is Imu. This is before he's 900 years being all proper. Said this sounds very childlike. And it was just a glimpse of the first time they communicated with each other. So wherever they were, this Den Den Mushi connected them. Now we're in the present, and Imu says, indeed, Joy Boy hath long since perished. And yet why doth Nushia awaken thy memories? And we don't know what the fuck Nushia is. It's probably Luffy in Gear 5 mode, because last chapter Imu was like, Joy Boy, when Luffy transformed. And he is saying this with wings spread, and we see flame in his left hand as he holds his spear in his right. And Luffy's sitting there with his hand cocked back in the Gear pistol mode. And then Imu, the flame from his fingers whirls around his hand, and Luffy says, he looks at him, and he just now got done listening, says, and yet why doth Nushia awaken thy memories? And Luffy goes, hell if I know. And then Imu swings with the left hand, and we see Imu's hair on the back of Imu's head it's not just white. They look like flames from this angle. Now, could I be wrong? Yes, but we don't have Imu in color just yet. We see Imu's tail wrapped around the body, and he punches. As he does, Luffy stretches his head downwards out of the way. And then we see the flames that have wrapped around Imu's hand. They say, he dodged. Down there, they say. And we see as the hand turns, it says down, down. And this looks just like Gear 4 Snake Man. And Luffy's head is going down, and he looks back, and he's like, huh? All of a sudden, bam! Imu's fist blasts Luffy in the fucking back of the head. Hair going out like spikes. Knocks his head hard down. And then next thing we see in the next panel, Luffy's body has been knocked all the way to the ground, and it's a huge explosion. So those flames were not only just flames, they were explosion-encoded flames. Then we see smoke. The smoke clears, and Luffy's head is stuck in the ground. He's springing his feet, and then boom, he flips out of the dirt, and then boom, right back up in front of Imu. It goes poof, and his face is all blacked and sooted and sullied, and he's mad. His smoke clouds are all ruffled and shit around him. And then he tries to swing with his right hand, a right hook on Imu. Instant transmission. Imu's gone. We see Imu right behind Luffy as Luffy's still glaring as his punch swings by. Then we see Imu try to stab Luffy. And this, I just got done watching the Cell games. Just like Cell was like, what's that, Goku? And Goku's like, oh, this instant transmission. He's like, it's handy. Luffy picks up instant transmission. Swip. And right as Imu's about to stab him with his spear, Luffy's gone. Imu looks to the side, and then we hear slash. And Luffy appears behind Imu and then starts to punch. But Imu turns around, starts to block all the punches with his spear as he's being pushed back. And then Luffy goes, but I landed a hit just earlier. And he's frustrated. Why can't I hit Imu now? I blasted him before I went Gear 5. What the fuck's going on? Imu takes both hands now, right hand out, left hand doing the circle, flip, makes another flame, starts shooting them bitches off. Boom, 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 boom. Explosions as they hit Luffy. Then we see Luffy running. He's like, whoa, that was close, because the explosions that happened seconds before Luffy ran. And everybody's like, oh, Luffy's running like a bitch. If you ain't trying to take damage, you ain't trying to take damage. And Imu is to be respected, yes. So Luffy respects these techniques, but Imu continues shooting off live flame grenades. These bombs are chasing. Boom. They look like Gotenk's ghost almost. The way that they're following Luffy, he continues to run, flames kicking up from his heels, and then he's running. He turns, his eyes pop out, and he goes, yikes, it's coming after me like a homing bomb. And we see 6 of them homing into him, and he goes, gum, gum, turns around, and we see his hands, boop, bop, bop, touch each one of these flames, just like they did with Rob Lucci's fingers when they were hitting in the gatlets. He goes, jet gatling. And a wall just erupts and it's explosions from all the flames that Imu shot. Imu's shocked and surprised, but doesn't say shit. Imu ain't big on words right now after realizing that Joy Boy's dead. And then Luffy goes, gum gum Majin, and turns into a big fucking genie. He's probably bigger than Loki at this point. And he goes, ho, 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 ho. And Imu's just standing there like, what the fuck is this? He says, it's not like I didn't see your fight with Loki. That guy's death won't be in vain, he says. And then we cut to Loki, head still sitting on the mountain. And he goes, I'm alive, you moron. And he coughs. And he goes, because the stab has put him down. His battle with Imu has injured him. He is sitting there. And then Luffy waves in his genie form. He says, oh, so you're still alive, huh, Loki? Imu does not stop, hand ready. Shoots off more flames, and then Loki sitting next to Ragnir, and Ragnir in the squirrel form is like, creak, creak, is worried about their best friend and their master Loki, and Loki's like, damn it, you. And this is just like, this is a very Goku and Vegeta moment that they're having here. And then it says, move, Ragnir, because he's telling Ragnir to move out of the way. You know why? Not only have these homing flames targeted Luffy, but they are shooting towards Loki, because Loki knows that Ragnir is going to get hit, Ragnir is going to get injured. But then our boy that everybody is like, what has he done besides use sea clouds to put out fire? He has not got a power up at all this chapter. Our boy, the first son of the sea, the helmsman of the Straw Hat Pirates, the man that fought days with his captain's big brother, Ace, JINBE, comes in and he uses a new fucking technique. Aberrest brick fist, boom, and he blocks Imu's projected shots. JINBE did. So now we know that JINBE has some kind of hockey to do this. But we continue, and Luffy looks, he says, JINBE! Because JINBE has protected Loki and nullified Imu's attack. He says, Luffy, if you want us to protect this guy, then that's what we'll do. And he throws his hands up, and Luffy's like, what a relief, JINBE. I leave him to you. He's our pal, after all. And then Ragnar's sitting there, stars in his eyes, looking at JINBE as JINBE's got his arm up, standing on top of Loki. And Loki's like, who are you calling a pal, you little squirt? And then JINBE says, all right, we've got this. Focus on him. Then we see Nami and Usopp looking. That's Luffy, isn't it? He's up against that guy from before, says Nami. And Usopp says, you're all right. Yo, you all right? Who the hell is that guy? And then we go back to Brook, standing above Loki and Ragnir, near the ice is melting. Brook says, there shouldn't be anyone above the Knights of God except the 5 elders. And Usopp goes, you think he's the commander of the Knights of God? I'm sure that's it. And Brook says, there exists no organization more shrouded in mystery than the world government. So Brook, most likely after this, will give our Straw Hats a little bit more information, if not Gunko or Shuri herself. But they're sitting there. Frankie and Brook have their hands up. And Frankie goes, hey, Brook, we can pull her out now. And Brook says, Princess Shuri. And we see the Straw Hats are up there talking above Loki's head. And they're like, and now what? How do we save someone who's frozen? let's see, back when Robin and Luffy turned to ice, and I'm sure that's what Usopp says, someone says, and we see that Ragnir standing on Loki, and then someone completes the sentence, they were frozen once? That's got to be Jinbei or Frankie, because they weren't with them when Robin and Luffy got frozen. So I'm saying that Nami says, how do we save someone who's frozen? Or maybe that's Brooke. And then Usopp says, let's see, back when Robin and Usopp turned to ice, and then Frankie, or yeah, because Jinbei's down there with Loki, so it has to be Frankie. He wasn't there. So then we see Imu. Imu says, Gunko, was it ordained that you ice be shattered? And then we hear gum gum behind him, and Imu continues, calling Gunko Princess Shuri, you afro haired man, nay, it cannot be, because she's not Shuri no more, she's Gunko to him. And out of nowhere, Luffy is trying to steal on Imu. He says, your wide open bullet. Motherfucker, the gum gum, your wide open bullet. And Imu blocks it with his hand. And then Imu says, didst thou not witness it? Shing! And he puts his hand in front of his eye, and we see that same bell. The same bell that is used in normal temples above the gates to ward off spirits. This has been commanding and bringing darkness to Imu and Elbaf. He goes, shink! And then Luffy's beard gets coated with black flames, targeting flames. Yep. He said, and then he's like, and we hear the flames say, go! And then Imu says, what fate hath befallen giant Loki? Again, he's like, did you not see what I did to Loki? Stigma! And his sword shoots out flames, poof. But right before it hits Luffy, Luffy transforms back to his normal Gear 5 self, dissipating the flames and it missing its mark because there is no target. And then Imu shoots out 3 more flame balls at him. Luffy hits the ground and takes the fuck off running. We see them swoosh, homing in on him just like the fucking ghost from Dragon Ball Z. And Luffy's like, yikes! Imu slowly comes down to the ground. Thud, walking with spear in hand, spins a spear in his hand, and then I don't know if he throws it up. Okay, so spins the spear in his hand and then it turns to a flame. Puts that flame back in the black arc of eyes behind him, and then out of it comes a sword. So where normal awakened devil fruits have the smoke, he has the eyes. That's where he gets his weapons from. He just put the spear back, and this may be what happened with Gunko. Gunko's body is not Imu, so it cannot just summon guns and things like that. That's why he had to have the grimoire. But Imu himself just pulls it from there because the sword comes out and he says, Bofu, blade of the void. And as the sword comes out and flames are on it, a tree next to him, and this is an Elbaf tree, starts to wither because it is sapping the energy, the life force from it. Then we see Imu standing there. It almost seems like all the trees are bending as the life is being sapped from him. Luffy is running around, those 3 fire bombs following him. He says, the forest withered, because it is a vast number of trees that are just died. And then Imu looks up, he says, now doth the view lie clear. And he's looking at Luffy, and Luffy says, from over here too. And he's just like, everything is dying. And then we see Imu jump into the air. And then he says, I know well who thou art. Nay, thou canst not be Joy Boy, he says. And Luffy's like, huh? And right before Luffy, as he's running around, blood comes out of his mouth. And then we hear the fire flames, go, go, go. As he is shot, they are coming from behind. Dude, I don't know if they hit him and absorb into the flame or we're going to see them next chapter, but the next panel is boom, Imu with his void sword through Luffy's chest. Luffy head back bleeding, and Imu completes his sentence. Wert thou Joy Boy, thou wouldst not be so feeble. The king of the world with an overwhelming aura. And this is the chapter that we have right here, 1188. These are the TCB scans. So these have not been translated by Shonen Jump. These were actually translated by Ragnarok scans. And there's several different scans that we get these from. These are not the official. prepare. The official live read is coming next. There's no need to theorize. We're just going to see what is different between this full chapter and the official one from Shonen Jump. So thank you guys so much for joining me. When I come back, we'll actually be able to see the chapter, and you'll read along with me, and then we'll theorize for next week, because I do think we have a break, and I don't know if they're going to keep doing this, if they're going to do brief spoilers, no full spoilers, then TCB scans and live read, or we'll get full scans next week. But I will always keep you up to date, because this is your place for not only One Piece, but anime information in general. All right, thank you guys so much. I'm Elijah 5000. This is Edge2 Otaku / Edge2 Gaming. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that follow and subscribe button. If you're on Edge2 Gaming on YouTube and watching this, go to Edge2 Otaku and follow as well. That allows me the ability to continue our anime watch parties and continue these streams for free for you guys. It helps out immensely. It continues to push everything forward for what we're doing here at Edge2 Gaming, for the Pod OKC, and anything else I have my hands in. But the main thing is it helps build and boost the community. Everybody loves it here. Next year we're going to DreamCon, so yes, there's a lot of work to be done, but I will catch you in the official live read for chapter 1188 of One Piece Void. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.